to have a bit of an online feud with the now dead couple. It didn't seem like much from the outside.
So they're like, we have a little money to move out of Dad's house, so we're just gonna sell some drugs on the side, some painkillers, but nothing crazy.
Okay, whatever that means.
Although, come January 2012, the couple found themselves in a completely unexpected situation. On January 31st, sometime before 6 a.m., Pa Bill got up early to drive to his job in Boone, Tennessee, about an hour away. He said good morning to Billie Jean, his daughter-in-law, who was already awake warming a bottle for the 7-month-old Tyler. Then he took off for work. At around 6:30 a.m., Bill Jr.'s friend Brad showed up at the house to pick up Bill for work. Like usual, sliding glass door, which the family typically left unlocked. He let himself in, called around for Bill, but didn't get an answer. Brad went over to their landline and called Bill's cell phone to see if maybe he'd gone out that morning. But Brad didn't get an answer. After a few minutes and no sign of Bill or Billie Jean, Brad got back into his car and drove to work without Bill. I guess he's like, okay, my friend's just not here and apparently not going to work. Then a few hours went by. Around 10 a.m., a friend of the family's named Roy Stevens swung by the house to pick up some mail of his they'd received. Roy parked his car out front, told his wife he'd just be a minute, and left her there with the engine running. Roy, like most of the Payne's friends, knew to go around to that sliding glass door on the side of the house and let himself in. When Roy came in, he announced himself as not to startle anyone, but like Brad, he found the house eerily silent. He expected at the very least for Billie Jean to be milling about or Tyler to be cooing or crying. Plus, now, Janelle wasn't the couple's only daughter. She also had an older sister named Christy. Over the years, Christy grew up and moved out of her parents' house, becoming somewhat estranged from the family, while Janelle was the polar opposite of her sister. She clung to her parents and happily moved with them down to Tennessee when the time came. And Janelle was a unique young woman. From a young age, she was challenged with learning, speech, and hearing difficulties. She also lived with type 1 diabetes. On top of that, Janelle stood out physically. She was 6 feet tall, had a lanky, awkward gait, and a high-pitched voice that could be picked out of any crowd. All of this meant she struggled socially and had a hard time making friends. And it probably didn't help her that her parents were severely overprotective of her. Janelle rarely left the house without one of them accompanying her, which was why Janelle often turned to the internet and social media to make connections.
All right, so I'm just thinking back because we're in 2009 here. We have Facebook, obviously. MySpace is still a thing, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like everything at this point is transitioning to Facebook. We don't have Instagram. At least it's not mainstream yet.
Living a very prominent life online, just very deep in the online world. And then Janelle makes one of her first in real life friends in Mountain City, where her family has moved. After frequenting the local pharmacy, Janelle gets to know the young female clerk named Tracy Greenwell. Here's the thing. Tracy Greenwell happens to be the sister of Bill Payne.
Okay.
So Janelle becomes friends with Bill's sister. Over time, Tracy began inviting Janelle out with her friends or to parties at her brother and Pa Bill's place, and that's where Janelle was probably first introduced to Bill Payne, our murder victim, or one of them. Over time, however, Janelle